Okay, gents, I've had some complaints in regards to this manufacturing specification. Manufacturing specification. Manufacturing specification. The idea behind this document and your CAD and to a certain extent your final design is I should be able to give these all to a third party and they should be able to make your final product. So for example, this really details what stages you need to go through in regards to the tools that are used, health and safety that needs to be used, or PPE, along with quality assurance, what you can do to ensure the quality is going to be high, and the predicted time that you believe it's going to take. In addition to this, of course, you have a series of CAD drawings or technical drawings which reinforce size, proportions, materials you're going to use. And so with that bundle, a third party, as I say, should be able to make your final product. So how does this work? Well, it's a pretty easy thing, really. It's just a list of different tasks that you need to conduct, that you need to go through to end up with the final product. So on the left-hand side here, what we're going to have is just numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to, I would have thought, about 30. Now, I've also been asked a number of times, where does this start? Does this start with the CAD? Does this start with the manufacturing of the circuit board? To be honest with you, I don't mind. I don't mind where it starts, but it's got to be chronological. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to go in the notes. End of the column. It's got to be chronological. It's got to start at 1 and end at about 30. About 30 steps. I would have thought this takes up about 2 pages of A3, about 3 pages of A4. Right, stage. Now these stages, I've put this in, I quite like this. This might be, for example, manufacturing of circuit board. That might be the first thing that you focus on. So all these stages will be the same. So what you really want to do with this cell here is probably merge it, and you might even manufacturing of circuit board. You might even spin the type around, and so all of that gets grouped together. Now, also, you could put colour on that, for example, like you can colour that red. So when we look at it, we can see, right, that's the manufacturing of circuit board. That is, another piece, maybe the designing of your casing. The next bit might be the manufacturing of the casing. But I would have thought there's going to be about 10 different stages of steps and about 30 different numbers. Does that make sense so far, Casey?
Yes.
Good, good, good. So we've got the process. This is an explanation of what you are doing. So the first thing in the manufacturing of the circuit board probably will be from the CAD that I've created, or maybe it's the creation of the CAD. From the CAD that I've created, I'm going to go and print out my transparency. I'm then going to put the transparency into the light box on top of a piece of PCB of a suitable size. Now, what does that mean? Right, well, tools and equipment here. We've got the photocopier, we've got some acetate and some transparency, we've got the guillotine to cut the PCB, we've got the PCB itself, we've got the light box involved here, haven't we? Yeah? And so what we're going to do is we're going to list all of those things that we need, which are related to that process. You might want to do that as a bullet point list, absolutely fine. But what you want it to be is quite condensed. So you might want to do like 2 different columns within that one large column of tools and equipment. Does that make sense? So far?
Yeah.
Good? Casey, you're looking a little bit confused here.
So are you saying like...
This is like an explanation. So explain the process, yeah?
It's like...
This is a list of the tools and equipment that you're going to use. I'll go back and do it again. So for this, for example, you may write something like, for this process, I am going to begin creating my circuit board. To do that, I'm going to take the CAD and print my mask on a transparency. Once I've printed it on a transparency, I'm then going to use that transparency to project the image onto a piece of PCB. That to me probably sounds like 2 steps, to be honest with you. Not one.
Wait, so I want to ask, like, is the process like for each box, is it like one process or is it like one whole thing?
Good question. Because there's 30 steps, you've done more than 30 different processes, yeah? So I would start putting them together. So that's why I say, for example, printing out the circuit board onto a piece of acetate, which is a really simple step, and then putting it in the right box, okay, and developing the image onto your PCB. If you're going to do that, you've also got to put into it the cutting down the PCB. Yeah? So we've got all of those together, really simple things to talk about, and also a really simple equipment list and tools list. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Yeah? So explanation, tools and equipment used, health and safety. Well, what health and safety do we need in regards to using the photocopier?
Not much.
No. Okay. What about using the UV box?
Not much.
Not much, but they've got UV, so either we wear glasses or we make sure the top is closed and locked properly. Yeah, so the UV light's getting out. We've then, once we've done that, we're using the guillotine. If we're going to use a guillotine, what sort of health and safety in regards to the guillotine?
Keep your fingers safe.
Keep your fingers safe, keep your fingers out of the way. The cutting blade, good. Goggles, just in case any bits fly up into your eyes. Probably should wear an apron as well, shouldn't you? Yeah? Just because you're in the workshop. Okay? So you just detail there, again, with bullet points, those 4 different points that you've just made. Okay? Health and safety covered. All right. Quality assurance. How can we ensure that we're going to get a good quality end product in regards to that first stage? Would I be, what type of printing would I be wanting to select? Would I be wanting to select a colour printer or a black and white printer?
The highest quality.
Highest density, which is a what?
Black and white.
Black and white, okay. So, quality assurance, make sure black and white printer is selected. Then you could look at density of printout to make sure that there are no imperfections. That could be another thing that we're talking about in regards to cutting your piece of PCB. What do we want to make sure that each edge is? Straight, right angular, because we've got to put it into the holder, haven't we? And if we get some sort of rhombus, it's much harder to hold. So, and we can do that quite easily by just putting the PCB up to the guide. So just make sure each edge is roughly 90 degrees. That's another one. Make sure that, well, it's not really quality assurance, but we should make sure that this is roughly the right size. Definitely bigger than the piece of transparency, but roughly the size of the piece of transparency. Yeah? Agreed?
Yeah.
All right. So that'd be the quality assurance. Jaden, we all right with this? Yeah? That's quality assurance. And time, how long do you think that stage is going to take? Bingo, that's it. That is it. Any questions?
No.
No?
So would it be PCB and then
well, next thing is going to be developing, isn't it? Developing might be a stage in itself. It's quite a complex stage developing. After that, then we've got the etching. After the etching, we're probably going to take it out. I would then probably have the cleaning with wire wool and drilling as one stage, because they're quite similar. Once we've drilled, then we start populating. Yeah, populating, not as populate whole board, populate it with your genie, your resistors, your info port. Okay, now check. And that should be a stage, isn't it? That should be a stage. Yeah. Stage 8, check the genie connects to the computer. If it doesn't, debug until genie does connect to the computer. Yes, Casey.
So, should it be like how many pages are there? Like should it be?
I think this wants to be, if you're working in A3, it wants to be 3 pages. If you're working in A4, sorry, if you're working in A3, it wants to be 2 pages, A4, 3 pages. I would have thought there are about 30 to 40 steps. Okay?
Do you have to include like assembly?
Yes. All the way up to your finished product. Your finished product.
What about like the evidence and stuff?
The evidence itself, what do you mean?
As in, like, you know how we have to gather evidence at the end?
like subjective and objective evidence.
So where does this come? This comes before you start making your product. So this isn't as part of the evaluation.
So it's a plan.
This is a plan, future tense, when you start, just before you start making your product. So really, this probably sits just after the manufacture of your circuit board. Really, it sits before that, but I imagine in your diary, your portfolio, it sits just after it, but before you start making your casing.
Yeah.
Clear?
One more question. Is it, are we making like this product, or are we making the second gen product?
You're making that product.
That product.
Yeah. So this is about page 20. Yeah? After this will come your photo diary.
20. Alright.
Yeah?
Yeah.
After this will come your photo diary. Let's repeat that, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright. Jaden? Happy? Alright. How's that, Jaden? Was that good?